It has been 2 years since the 7 October 2023 Hamas attack, and the war in Gaza remains a major humanitarian crisis. Ceasefire negotiations are ongoing, involving Egypt, Qatar, the United States and other actors. Key points include discussion of staged Israeli withdrawal, disarmament of Hamas and hostages. Ladies and gentlemen, from inside the country and from outside the country, I welcome all of you at today's International Affairs, broadcasting from SATV's Dhaka studio. I will have a very distinguished, experienced gentleman here in this studio, Dr. Major Nasir, who has the expertise on managing conflict, who has the expertise on international affairs and negotiations. From Washington DC, we will have our geopolitical correspondent Norman Flatt-Barnes. From Florida, Miami, we have our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, and of course from Paris, France, we have Evita Saidlova. She has the experience for working biodiversity, climate change and women's rights. She has the experience to work with United Nations different organizations. I welcome all of you at today's issue. First, let me catch Norman Flatt-Barnes from Washington DC. Norman, would you please put your first take, introductory take, what's going on in United States? What is your take on Israel-Gaza negotiations progress, and is there any breaking news you have from Washington?
Greetings from Washington. We start a new day, and as we start, we are stating and anticipating some response from the talks in Egypt regarding Gaza. Here in the United States, Congress and the president is still at a stalemate regarding the shutdown. The issue's still the same. How do we get over the healthcare hikes? How do we deal with that? And the Democrats are steadfast, not moving on the part that they insist that we must have a plan to reduce the amount of healthcare, increase the cost of it coming up in the next couple of months. So that is where we're at right now, waiting on response from Gaza, the negotiations, and we are looking at, of course, we're always looking at Ukraine and see what's going on over there. Europe is still dealing with issues, particularly France, on exactly how they're going to move forward as a government.
All right, Norman, production, I want to talk to Shamsul Alam Pantho, SATV's International Affairs commentator, joining from, he did not join yet. Let me come back to the studio. I have a very distinguished gentleman, Dr. Nasir. You are hearing that ceasefire negotiations, withdrawal negotiations, hostages exchanges negotiations are going on between Israel and Hamas. Hamas responded a little, but they need some corrections on 20 points given by the United States President Donald Trump. What is your observation according to your experience observing so many negotiations, points, bargainings, and finally come to a decision? What you see the prospect of these 20 points negotiation, Israel versus Hamas?
Thank you, Kanchan, and warm greetings to my dear viewers. As rightly you have pointed out at the very beginning that it's already 2 years gone that people are dying in Gaza mercilessly, and whole world could not do anything. And in the latest move in the UN, when almost the whole world was in one side only, and they walked out of the General Assembly hall, only Netanyahu could speak to very few of them, and unfortunately there was 2 Arab nations countries, those who signed the Abraham Accord, and that thereby the last chance of negotiation or establishing peace by international community probably missed out with that walkout of the from the General Assembly hall. In exchange, we found that Donald Trump, who apparently now has given a open challenge to the whole world that only he can bring peace to the international conflicts and everywhere. If you can remember, before his election, he said he needs 24 hours time to stop the Ukraine and Russian war. And same is the tone he has till now for the Gaza as well. He has given his 20 points. But unfortunately, if you narrate that these are, to me, these are not very practical and very realistic. Maybe it will make some sense to immediately stop the war for time being and get some reinforcement in terms of food, medicine and other humanitarian aids. Maybe Hamas will agree to that. But again, question comes, who is Hamas? Who has created Hamas? Why suddenly 2 years back they have attacked in that way? With what understanding? They were not aware of their capabilities. They are not aware of the reaction likely to be taken by Netanyahu. So everything, if you count in one series, you will find this particular negotiations, maybe Hamas will accept it, but it's a makeshift arrangement from the Donald Trump side. Donald Trump is also in crisis in his own country as well. So how long he can afford to support such? He said he will be the chief administrator of that particular land, which is absurd. You cannot, if you talk about the model of East India Company, a viceroy will come and administer some other land. This is not a very practical idea in today's scenario. So he is thinking of becoming a viceroy or deputing a viceroy in Gaza on his behalf, who will administer the Gaza land. But practically it is not possible, it is not feasible. Again, this unrest will continue, but unfortunately there is no hope of peace right at this moment to me.
There is no hope of peace right at this moment, according to Dr. Nasir, who has a military background, who was in service of military. I want to take on board Norman. Norman, you are hearing Dr. Nasir's comments. He said appointing an administrator in Gaza area in 2025 is not technically possible, technically feasible, logically also not possible. What you gonna say? Is this an immature decisions or offer, as 7 October attack by Hamas is also calling by some analysts that was also immature step by Hamas according to their capacity and the capacity of their oppositions, I mean Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli Defense Forces.
Yes, as we the day we mark, actually yesterday was 2 years from the actual event on October the 7th, and there was acknowledgement of that. At the same time, the negotiations are moving on, but there's still little trust. The outward appearance is that Hamas is prepared to accept some of the terms, but Israel is not ready to stop their aggression. So we have one part who really to slow it down, take a pause, but Israel is hell-bent on continuing their conquest. They do not trust it. They do not believe in it as fashion that want them to continue with their campaign. So my assessment is yes, the conflict will continue. There's no end in sight. There's no solution discussed about the Palestinian state. We talking about Gaza, but we're not talking about the whole issue, Palestine. So that is where we're at right now. We're waiting to see exactly what comes out of it and what new revelations develop.
All right. There are developments also, but I want to do a question to Dr. Major Nasir Ahmed. How should Israel, regional states and international actors legally manage or respond to such efforts? Can anyone, any negotiation country, make bound Israel and Hamas to come for a negotiation table and to sign the deal to go for a ceasefire?
as per the international norms, a third party cannot do it. They can only negotiate. They can only negotiate. You know that Qatar is famous for international negotiation nowadays, and Doha has been renowned for the international peace talks with different issues. And as we discussed today, discussion is going on at Doha as well. So this is another way of discussion and doing something. But if you talk for about the forceful enforcement of some negotiation or deal or a decision, it has to come through United Nations. United Nations has a system of peace establishment and peace enforcement, which happened in Burundi, which happened in some of the African countries. Nobody was agreeing, so United Nations had to pass the special that they call it some clause. So under that particular clause, peacekeepers are allowed to use gunship, use fire at sight. They can enforce anything they want, and after that they can bound someone to sign or to leave the area or to make a distance, so that peace is established. Since there is no initiative, or initiative from the UN has failed miserably, and Arab nations could not sit, the YC could not give any solution, and Netanyahu single head is now dominating the entire world. And not only he has taken the strike on Israel. You see the country like Qatar, which is very close allied to USA, we say, and there is a strong base in USA, that has also come under Israeli attack. And within the month of September, 6 Arab countries were under attack from the Israeli side. So such a country, if you talk about can anyone force him to do, no, it cannot force him. Yes, it is only USA which can force, but we have clearly understood the USA is never going to force Netanyahu or the Israel against the interest of the USA. And US interest is always to keep the Jews pleased.
Very loud and clear. Mr. Norman, I'm sure you are very attentively listening, Dr. Nasir. I really appreciate him. He's always very straightforward. He's always very logical, technical and practical according to his study and experience. I just want to add one more questions on these topics, that what is the impression of other Arabian countries including Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey on this 20 points peace plan by US President Donald Trump?
Of the Trump plan. However, the issue of Palestine still prevails. There need to be some type of agreement that Israel will stop the aggression, avoid the annexation, and come to some terms of creating a government ran by the people of Palestine and hopefully overseen and managed by the Arab nations. So that is the hope and prayer, that there's some type of agreement comes out of that will involve a regional control and response to versus a external and a more Western type of oversight.
All right, Norman, my last question to Major Dr. Nasir, sir. Can humanitarian imperatives override security justifications, and where is the line has been drawn?
Okay, the term humanitarian or the humanity probably is not in vogue in the dictionary of Israel or Netanyahu. If it could happen, you see the Turkish president in the United States and other international forums, he has shown a picture of a small baby, just only the bones are there with the heart, nothing else in the body. And he clearly said, we are parents, we are grandfathers, grandmothers. How can we tolerate this sort of scenario in a country of 2025? But unfortunately, there was no response. And then the latest, the flotilla Samud, you see, more than 45 countries, including one a proud Bangladeshi activist.
Yes.
They have moved towards Gaza. And what was the response? They have arrested all these activists, and they were, as the news come, they were tortured, they were humiliated, and the France, the humanitarian aid workers, 7 of them, and those who are the leftist politician leaders, they have gone for a hunger strike as a protest to others. So I think that humanitarian aid or humanitarian activities in Gaza definitely will be established. The whole world cannot be blind like that, but at the cost of something very severe.
I appreciate you, sir. We have got in line Evita Svedlova. She is very well-known personality in Europe. She has experience working with United Nations, different organizations. She works on biodiversity, climate change, humanitarian issues, and of course, women's rights. Evita Svedlova, I appreciate your joining with ACTV's International Affairs. I welcome you, and my first question would be, how can nations balance economic development with the urgent need to protect biodiversity hotspot, because world is in a crisis of biodiversity, climate change, and of course humanitarian crisis? Evita Svedlova from Paris, France.
Morning.
Good morning. Well, your afternoon probably. Yes, I think it's an important question to ask today, how we can balance biodiversity. Well, first we have to, that I point last time in the interview that I have with you with the live show. Well, the economic crisis and the corruption is a very big problem for balancing something in this world. And of course, it starts dealing about the world wars happening all over the planet. And then it's important all about education, green jobs, you know, making more sustainable and healthy lifestyle everywhere. People are more healthy, better motherhood for mothers, because it's important to develop strong civilization, and it's done by mothers, of course. So it's a question about protection and the education for the future sons. And the technologies, you know, we have also artificial intelligence today. Of course, it have not to replace the power of human, but it's have to help also calculate the best way of surviving on this planet.
All right, Evita Svedlova, I really appreciate, and I wish the best of luck of your new books. I know you are a reputed author, writer, and publisher also. I appreciate you. Please let me go to Washington, D.C., where Norman is there. Norman, U.S. government shutdown is in 7th days. Still, Republicans and House Speaker Johnson is trying his best to accommodate Democrat leaders to come forward to break this gridlock or deadlock. What is the latest situation? What is the updates, and what is the development among the discussions between Democrats and Republicans?
Yes, the situation is dire. We are considered a stalemate between the parties. No one is budging. The Democrats is hell bent on continuing their crusade regarding the reduction in the cost of health care for millions of people. As the plan goes right now, and if something doesn't change, a lot of people, millions of people will lose health care, and the other majority of people will not be able to afford the current care they have. The Republicans really believe that they can come to a solution for this. However, the Democratic belief is that we will not budge from our position, and that position is that we need a health plan that works for the people.
I'll again come back to you. Here is Dr. Nasir Ahmed. I need a question. As a foreigner, as an outsider of United States, we are not the expert of United States Constitution and political norms and cultures, but as United States is world's most powerful country, we have some keen interest to read and go through it. Sir, how will foreign governments and investors interpret a broken United States government in terms of reliability and leadership?
Okay. Internationally, the USA is always a very attractive place in different dimension, especially the strength of the dollar itself, their currency, attracts many of the investors and business community to invest towards USA and make business relation with them. But unfortunately, with the recent development in the USA, especially this shutdown which has been, this is for last 7 days shutdown has executed, but in the month of September there was a clear indication and there had been warning given by the workers that they need, that they call it the gap, financing the gap. The moment their dues, their facilities do not match with the strength of the economy, thereby some steps are being taken by the administration. It happened in the past also, and whenever there is a accommodation of some fund, the workers are paid back for their absent period or the strike period or for their any gap in between regarding their facilities. But unfortunately, all on a sudden, this particular administration of Donald Trump, they declared that there won't be any funding for the workers if they are not going for the work, and the other facilities also were cut down, and there was a clear indication they are not going to be paid back, which was a normal system in the USA. And again, some of the, there are several states, in terms of the political identity of the state government, the policy was somehow tilted towards some of the states. That also again ignited some unrest. And overall, the USA policy now towards the international community, their ambition to capture some other country, their struggle with the China, and the rare earth, which is a very attractive item for USA. China has stopped given 7 of the very rich minerals to USA, and now the USA is looking for its alternative, not finding. So definitely this also not only the strike, the other policies of the USA will discourage the international investments towards USA.
Yes, United
and
States.
Again, another point that currency, as strong currency like the dollar, it is also gradually losing its strength, and other currencies are being taking place, and especially the digital transactions, bitcoins and other issues are coming up, which is a challenge to the US currency as well. So internationally, this will be a challenging
situation. Very well explained, gentlemen. I really appreciate you. I want to again take on board Evita Svedlova from Paris, France, because you have already heard that huge protest by the Gen Zs is going on. And one of the subject is climate change, biodiversity, women's rights, students' rights, youth's rights. I want to do a question regarding this. Why are current global climate pledges still insufficient to limit warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade, and what must change politically, because world is busy with war, conflict and trade tariffs? We need to focus on climate issues as well. Do you think it, and what is your take on that? Evita Svedlova from Paris, France.
Yes, it's a big geopolitical question because it's a lot of things going on today politically, and what is have to mainly change is I will be very straight and very clear about the problem. When we are sick about, let's say, cancer, so we have to go to the right doctor, so to remove the tumor, because if we're going to the dentist, or hairdresser, that won't fix the problem. So today, a lot of big summits and all what's happening, mostly happening in very beautiful places like Paris, Montreal, Fiji, Seychelles, and that's fantastic. But let's say that, for example, Sahel desertification is happening in Sahel, mostly in Africa. So if the leaders will not meet directly in the impact where the problem is, and the scientists and the politicians and the NGOs, and then they will not see the problem, what's happening, and to start to act in the problem. So the meetings, for me, it's supposed to be in the safe places, because there are in Africa and in other countries, in Indonesia and in around the Amazon. So most things have to be focused also around the desertification and the raining forest. So it must to happen in around there, not in beautiful places like Paris. Nobody have an idea what's going on, and they will fix some agreement, and then everybody go home, and nothing happening afterward. So so for me, it's have to be like that. We have to fix the place and the problem directly where the problem is and meet there. And there are a lot of countries that are safe today to make the meetings for that.
Very well explained, Evita. I appreciate your knowledge, information and wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, a time has come to go for a short commercial break, but I still have so many things to know from Norman and Dr. Nasir regarding the US government shutdown and its consequences impacting the entire world's economy. And of course, I have some more queries to Evita Saidlova joining from Paris. I appreciate all of you for joining today.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 Roberts Lane, Singapore 218302. Phone 0065 629 24900. বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa for well-being. Perfect venue for corporate events, weddings and parties. Seamless and secured, elegant and
Ladies and gentlemen, impact of American economy impacts the entire globe, impacts and slowdown of Chinese, Japanese economy, European economy impacts the entire global economic bloodline. I want to tell you this because American economy has got stuck in 2007, and later President Barack Obama has come in power, and you all know the recession impacts around the globe. He has given billions of dollars input to the giant companies to bring back the economy. That was very much appreciable. But at this stage, US government shutdown and political standoff is going on. Democrats and Republicans are divided, though both the houses are led by the Republican parties, and President himself is trying, Speaker Johnson is trying, but Democrats says it's a huge time to go back and fight back Donald Trump's internal policy, external policy. So I want to bring back that policy again. What's going on? Norman, please let us know which party is taking the bigger political risk, and under what conditions might they blink first, because according to CNN survey, 45% of American people is blaming Republicans, 30% is blaming Democrats, and 23% of the American people are saying nothing.
Actually, the response is that the incumbent, the responsible party, the ruling party, has to take the responsibility, because they have the power, they have the House, the Senate, and the courts, and so they have the ability to make things happen. Yet they must consider, both parties must consider the political, the value of their political fortunes versus the public sentiment and whatever economic implications that it prevails. So we must come to a conclusion, a solution for this problem, because it's not going to look well for either parties and the president regarding this. Public trust will impact the economic situations that's going on in the United States, and it may not be worth it politically for either parties to continue this stalemate.
All right. I will come back to Dr. Nasir, but before that, I want to go to Evita Svedlova. I have a huge question for you. Despite global awareness, why do wage inequality and workplace harassment persist across both developed and developing countries? I know you are writing on that. Your publications will be soon in the market.
I'm sorry, I have to ask again the question. I did not understand.
Can you please tell us, despite global awareness in medias, from government side, from NGOs, why do wage inequality and workplace harassment persist across both developed and developing countries?
Okay, the problem is today, it's I will repeat always the same. It's developing countries are actually crucial for biodiversity because the corruption, so they don't have enough money and the possibility to install all the best technologies for that, like we can install it here in Europe or probably in the United States to preserve some important places, and so it's also about the economical crisis that have to be balanced. It's everything. It's geopolitical negotiation. It's about the peace. It's about the lifestyle everywhere. It's the livelihoods. The local indigenous have to be more protected also because they have their own tributes and they have their own rules and they have to adapt it. And it's very important because it's if we don't install some important summits around this world, like I say precedently, in the places that in the direct impact with it's something it's supposed to look like 40 Gs. I know it's big, but it could happen, and then they start to take important decisions step by step every year, and to making the changes in the developed country. Of course, if we develop everything in Europe and in United States, where the big problems are not really happening, it's more outside. So it's nice to construct everything here, but see the ecosystem, it's happening around all the planet, and especially the raining forests are so important. Without them, it's, how much, if we cut all raining forest, we have like 6 days to survive, because there will not be oxygen, let's say it like that. So I'm not exaggerating. This is real. Without raining forests, we it's like a pulmon of our planet. So we have to actually keeping surviving on this planet, to preserving everything globally, than just in one places. When we talk about nature and biodiversity, we cannot be nationalist. We have to be more open. It's have nothing to be about believing in some rights and in some politics, but there are borders that, okay, this is our country, but this is our planet, and the planet is large, and she have her own way of living and the health, and we have to probably healing her in the same time. Like this, the climate change, because we are part of the universe, and the climate change happened, and it's happened before. It not accelerate, but it's maybe go in the speed of the planet and where she is in the solar system and in the galaxy. I will go very far, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So we have to think, for one thing, we have to survive like a human race.
Yes, this is
So we
very
have to
important,
work for
Evita Svedlova. It is very important to know you both have time limitations from Paris and Washington, but our production team will continue keeping you connections. If you are disconnected, we will be connecting again. Let me come back to studio where Major Nasir is here. He has a huge study on democracy and foreign policy as well. Sir, a country like United States, who has the strongest military, strongest economy, and the strongest democracy in some aspects, do you think this kind of government shutdown and appointing National Guard internally is a political blame game, or political, fight between the two major stakeholders in US democracy?
I should say term it as a suicidal decision of the political parties, because ultimately, as very recently we had been listening to the lady about our earth as a whole, the global warming and other issues. This earth belongs to us. In the same way, the American, whether he is a Democrat or who is a Republican, should realize that this country belongs to the Americans. And the slogan they normally use and in practical what they are following do not match. Right at this moment, the political identity is not the main issue. It should be how to compensate the workers and bring them back to the work, because if they do not work, the whole nation will be suffering. Already their healthcare industry is at a stake. The economy already under pressure, that's why they cannot give proper dues to the workers. Now, if the shutdown continues, the pressure will mount more. Number 3 is that internationally they are losing their credibility. Many of the industries are dependent on foreign buyers, and if they do not get their shipment on time, again there will be a crisis in international courts. Many of the countries depends on exporting raw materials to USA for their industrial products. If the shutdown going on, this particular supply chain will be disrupted. So not only the USA itself, internationally there is a huge impact of this particular shutdown. Now political blame game, whether Republicans are at fault or Democrats are overreacting, that comes later. First, the solution should come. There should be an immediate attention to the workers' demand so that they go back to their work and the industries can come to the normal movement and normal production line.
Very well explained, Dr. Nasir. Very well explained. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to go to a short commercial break, but before that, I want to share with you one breaking news just in. Here, tensions in Europe are rising as authorities investigate drone sightings connected to Russian shadow fleet. For example, a Benin-flagged oil tanker was boarded by French forces under suspicion of being involved in drone launches over Denmark. This contributes to concerns about hybrid warfare and autonomous threats. And after the break, we will be talking about the Gen Z's protest in different continents.
Catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10, Dhaka.
কি এমন জিনিস যেটা সব লোকে খায়, ছোটরা খেলে পরে কেঁদে মায়ের কাছে যায়, বৃদ্ধ লোক খেলে পরে মাথায় দেয় হাত, যুবক যুবতীরা খেলে পরে এদিক ওদিক তাকায়?
ছেড়ে দে শয়তান, ছেড়ে দে, দেহ পেলে আমার মন পাবি না, ছেড়ে দে।
কোন ফলের বীজ নেই বলো দেখি দাদা, বলতে না পারলে হবে তুমি গাধা।
মন্দিরা চক্রবর্তী কার সাথে প্রেম করছে?
আমি এখন মা হতে চলেছে।
চিনেছি তোমারে আকারে প্রকারে, দিনের আলো রাতের আধারে।
কোন বাসায় শুধু দুজন থাকে, দরজা জানালা ছাদ কিছুই থাকে না?
পা। পায়ের নুপুর।
Across multiple countries like Madagascar, Morocco, Peru, Indonesia, Nepal, the Philippines, young people are protesting for climate justice, better infrastructure, against corruption. Many of these are in places hit recently by disasters or environmental stress. But their number one demand is employment. And you know the history of last year of Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Nepal. My question is to you, why young generations, young stars are very upset on the services by the government, political leaders and the seniors?
Okay. You see, there had been a major change right after the Second World War. If you count that we have crossed more than 60 years from the Second World War, and within this period we have seen that in the name of politics, our predecessors, what they have done. In most of the cases, except some examples which are very rare, like Nelson Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi, if you can name a few of them like this. In most of the cases, in the name of politics, what they have done, it is absolutely, I should say, doing some favor to some people, and again major portion of the population was deprived. That is the scenario of last 60 years. If in terms of country, in terms of nation, in terms of region, in terms of whatever category you see, you will find these things. The politicians, they have taken the side of one particular stakeholders or interest group or vested interest group, whatever you talk it, and as a result, other side or the most of the population were deprived. And the most glaring deprived person were the Gen Z, who are now very much focused nowadays. And this focus came up from Algeria, you know, when the Arab Spring came out. A small vendor on the street, he torched his body in open after the as a protest against the police hampering them for their livelihood. It is not only the unemployment, it is the livelihood. He has to earn his bread and butter. He has to earn his daily needs. If he cannot do it, either from the government side or through service or some small business, he will go desperate. That is the natural law. Even a cat, if it is at the last end of the room and there is no space to go back, it will jump forward. That is the law of the nature. I think after the Second World War till today, there had been a major shifting or push towards the Gen Z and the deprived group. The privileged group, they have earned so much, they have become so, you see, every year the wealth or strength of the big merchants or the tycoons, it is increasing. On contrary, on pen and paper, you will find that the poverty is declining, poverty line is declining. But if you talk about the practical scenario, it is not. Statistically, it's something, and practically it is different. And what is practically happening, that has been exposed by the Gen Z. They are now no more believing the statistics. They are not believing the news coming up in the media. They are not believing in the high-sounding words of the political leaders. What they feel, what they are facing problem, they want to expose it. And the most blessing for them is the social media. Within a click of seconds, they can spread the practical scenario. Now the media cannot camouflage the reality. I give a simple example. There was a trying in the Thailand to neutralize some election result, but within 1 second, per second, 40 practical pictures were uploaded by the Gen Z. Per second, 40 pictures or news or comments. What is happening in which center? Per second, 40. So thereby, when the entire country was flooded with the practical pictures, the government had nothing to do but to leave the chair. That happened in Thailand.
Sir,
so Gen Z are in the driving seat, you will have to agree.
Yes, sir. I was listening you very, very attentively. You are a good speaker, good panelist. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sir, one question has come in my mind. I'll do it later, but let me connect with Evita from Paris once again. The question will be, then Gen Z's demand is not, or Gen Z's fight is not against the left versus right. It is a fight for top versus bottom. I'll ask you why political leaders are not understanding the Gen Z's language. I want to get back one more time to Evita Svedlova from Paris. My question would be very, very simple to you this time. Are traditional Jews and animal sanctuaries still ethical? Or should conservation move fully to natural habitat protection? Because I know you are working on this issue particularly.
I have to apologize, but I hear very bad what you're saying. Sometimes it's something I have to ask again. I'm so sorry. Again, the
all
same
right,
question.
no problem. I said, are traditional Jews and animal sanctuaries is still ethical? Okay. I know you fight against this.
Yeah, okay, I understand it. Okay, the zoological park, well, Yes, they are important because, but it depends where and in what condition. First of all, they can preserve species that they can reproduce in the zoos in the condition that the parks have large parks for wild animals, especially big animals like leos, tigers, elephants. Well, there have been working with them a lot of zoologists that are very good, and a lot of people that are involved with animals, they can study their behave and they can reproduce them. They can help to survive them in this planet because some of the species are disappearing. So yes, they are important. But animals supposed to live in their wildlife, in their habits, and they where they belong. So we're supposed not to use the zoos just for attraction for the tourists, but more like for preserving the species, to helping them survive, and we can study the species from the best way on the possibility that we can develop the zoological parks for their lifestyles. That's possible, but we cannot domesticate wild animals. We have to understand that the wild animals are made for wildlife. It's not like cats and dogs that we can domesticate them and making them living with us in the house. I have a dog, and he's living with me, but it's another thing. So the wild species that have to have their habits, but especially zoological parks have to be. It's happened in Prague, my country. We have very good sophisticated zoological Prague Zoo, which working with a lot of scientists, with a lot of zoologists, and we have really large parks for the animals, and they really healthy improving. We have newborns, new babies born, which is very happy for the park, because most of those animals not reproduce themselves anymore in the life parts of this planet, and that's a big problem. So the zoological parks could help to preserving some species, but in the strict conditions, yes.
All right, Evita said global biodiversity, climate change, women rights, and different issues. I know you have been awarded from different very prestigious international organizations. So I appreciate and I give special thanks for joining us today. I wish you a very good day, Evita. So let me come back. I said that I will do a question. What is the job of the politicians? If country goes right, keep it right. If country goes wrong, bring back into right. I want 1 minute answer, because Norman is waiting from Washington. Why political leaders are not capable to understand the voice of Gen Zs?
It is mainly the voice of Gen Z goes against the people who are sponsoring the government and politicians in terms of money. In terms of money and international negotiation and international connection. None of the countries, especially countries of the third world, can independently now rule a country. They has to go for some sorts of understanding with some other country. If you talk about Bangladesh, you see, we are either will have to in favor of the USA or against the USA. Either you will have to go deal with the China, or you will have to support anti-China policy of the USA. You cannot be a neutral one. And also these sorts of negotiations with the USA government and Chinese government or the Russian government is being done by the, not by the politicians. It is mostly by the business community. So the political parties or the political leaders, if they are dependent on the business community, they cannot listen to the
All right, sir.
judges.
I'm extremely apologize for the shortage of time. My last question to Norman in 45 seconds, Norman. What is the updates of Russia and Ukraine peace deals? No symptom we see from any side.
The peace deals is basically a delay that Russia has put in place to create a situation where Ukraine can be stressed to the point where they will
Connection. Yeah.
surrender.
All right.
That's plain
I apologize for the interruption.
and simple, to create an environment where they cannot continue to survive and put enough
All right. Norman, I wish you a very good day. I know natural weather in Washington is very lovely, but political weather is extremely hot over there. I wish you a very good day. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our topics today. And at the last, I want to say happy birthday to one American actor and screenwriter who is very favorite to young generations, Matt Damon. His birthday today. Happy birthday to you. I'll see you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.